said it very early in the game that there shouldn't be a PayPal blockchain. If you think of blockchains and protocols and applications.
Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, coming to you live from Consensus in Austin, Texas. Joining us for this segment, we have Darius Tabai, co-founder of Vertex. We're here to discuss how digital asset market structure is evolving surrounding liquidity and how it's going to be shared across all compatible blockchains. Darius, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks for having me back.
Let's talk about recent market activity. It seems to be, certainly since I spoke to you last time, that market structure is really starting to evolve, mature, and become a true part of the capital market ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's really bifurcating along sort of the lines of BTC and ETH, moving into a class of their own. I think the approval of the ETH spot ETF can really expect that to continue. So it's interesting to see how that will evolve with adoption from pension funds, IRAs, and what that'll mean for altcoin markets.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you think about institutional investors and investments, even just looking at a conference like Consensus, how it has evolved over the past 5 to 6 years, it definitely has a more institutional feel, talking about market structure, liquidity, regulation, frameworks. It's a different conversation.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it goes with a change in professionalism in the space as well, moving from a purely retail product to a more of an investor product, as you described. I don't think we're there yet, but this is definitely like a big step along the journey.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. You know, how digital asset market structure is evolving, how liquidity is improving. What do you see there?
Yeah, so I think if you look at the market and how things have been structured traditionally, most of the market, and this is still the case, goes through offshore centralized exchanges. I think with the move to the ETF, you're seeing a lot of that move onshore, but that leaves a massive hole in the altcoin space still, and probably indefinitely, where that'll be moved to both these offshore exchanges and increasingly to on-chain. So with what we do at Vertex, we're super interested in that bit that's moving on-chain and how that evolves with the bifurcation of chains across L2s, different L1s, etc.
So you're really focused on the integration of, let's call it, traditional finance and decentralized finance, and getting all these blockchains to communicate with each other?
Yeah, I think that's the bit where we're exactly specified on, is the getting blockchains to communicate with each other. I think for us to challenge TradFi, you need those bits to work in a coordinated fashion, much the same as you might see different stock exchanges in North America all clear through a best bid offer system, all going to the same clearing system. At the moment, there is no real clearing system for that with blockchains. We feel like the sort of work we're doing at Vertex currently with Edge, where we do a cross-chain order book, can help with a lot of that and consolidate liquidity.
Are you starting to see interoperability overall improve?
Yeah, I think it's a huge market. You see it with products like Layer 0 that have become pretty massive very quickly. The need for that interoperability is big. I think that's just going to continue as we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels like it's evolved again, you know, as we're having different kinds of conversations at Consensus.
Yeah.
What do you call it, 2 to 3, 5 years out, where it'll, not, let's call it more mainstream, but interoperability will kind of not be as much of an issue or a thing of the past?
Yeah, you hope so, right? Like if you think back to early days of the internet, you were very aware of the underlying architecture.
Right.
You know, you'd have a dial-up modem, you'd hear it going off, you're very aware what happened. Now it just happens on your phone and you click a button and you're more concerned with the experience. I think blockchain's still in that dial-up modem era where you know which chain you're on, you've got to sign your wallet. And I think all these things, and interoperability is one, account abstraction's another, these will all make it a more fluent, pleasant UX.
I mean, as the user, you really don't care how you get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
That's for the geniuses in the background to figure out, and that's essentially, you know, you didn't even think about it. You need an app to get around Consensus. You download it, it just happens.
100%.
Right.
That's where we want to get to, right?
Yeah.
The fact that we all know so much about how blockchains work is not great for the space overall.
Yeah.
You want to get to a point where it's just an abstracted thing and a nice interface and you just do what you want to do.
All right. Appreciate the insight as always, Darius.
Yeah,
thanks for joining us
pleasure.
on Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me from Consensus. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.